About a month ago, I made a TikTok about me killing the DAYTIME Empress of Light because I thought I'd get a lot of views. Which it did. It also had tons of comments calling me shit the game for being on normal mode, post Moonlord. So instead of moving on with my day like a normal person, I decided to beat the game on legendary mode, on the Zenith Seed, as summoner, which is already hard enough because summoner shit. But I also decided to beat it before Golem and Nighttime Empress. Just to clarify, I'm going to be using any weapons I can find until I fight the cthulhu, but from then on, it's nothing but summoner. This video is going to be long as hell, so if I waste any more of your valuable time, fatty, let's start the video. Seeing as this would almost be as hard as into a Phase 4 Morpho movie, and that I'd be seeing my character's name in death messages for god knows how many hours when I'm looking at the You've Been Slain screen, I called this wretched creature Sigma Snail and put in the specialty getfixedboi into my world and called it Goalie G. Spawning in, I noticed we have the Princess Tax Collector in the upper one instead of the guide and get to tree chopping immediately. And not even 30 seconds into it, I get fucking Al-Qaeda'd by a fucking tree. At this exact moment, part of my soul dissipated knowing I'd have to beat this entire game in this godless hellscape of a seed. I start working on a crappy house out of evil hellwood. When my shorts infected brain can't handle it, I go looking for adventure because I beat the game without walking and I don't have time for a damn house. That was until I found out that crispy honey blocks burn you and get kicked straight back down to hell. Oh, that's stupid as hell. Oh, come on. My first thought after this was to cover my squishy meat sack with less squishy lead when all of my NPCs died for god knows what reason. I mean, I got the lead, but also found out that honey blocks spew out lava when you break them, which is fucking awful. Why would they do that? After 3 seconds of not dying, the nearest swarm of lava slimes decide to make themselves at home and rearrange all my furniture so that navigating my house will feel a little bit more awkward until I figure out what they changed. I make some evil hellwood swords and go back up to find more ore. When all of my neurons shut down and I stand next to an armed bomb after a series of dying to lava, going back up, dying again until I find a chest and make a run for it. And you know what I get? Do you want to know what I got? What I got? An umbrella. This is it. Now all I have to do is beat the Moonlord. Everything up until now was awful, but now the game's just trivial. I got an umbrella, yippee. And after a metric ton of dying, I finally made it to the surface of whatever the hell this seed is, and find a chest which gives me my only form of self-defense for now. In the death pit of traps, there was also a chest, but seeing as it had 24-hour 4K Ultra HD surveillance, it must have something good. An angel statue. Go fuck yourself. Fuck. And after another free ride home, I organise my shit and make a lead helmet, which doesn't help in the slightest when even fucking green slimes are dry scooping protein powder on their first day back just to kick my ass. After another fun holiday to the fun zone above, I find a worthless weak ass bird staff and immediately and spontaneously combust into a pile of goop after a demon I forgot his glass, whatever he has, and runs me over. And when I get my money back, I learned about the fun thing that happens whenever you're in the dark, when presumably a 5'4" Instagram influencer one-taps me, and when I get back, there's no more than 2 iron veins. Nothing else, just 2 iron veins. Before a bat peels my hat back. Oh, chest! Shoe spikes. And after crafting some evil hellwood armor, I go find out if the one defense will help me in any way. And out of kindness, a yellow slime shows me the answer. When I claw my way back to the top, I find a silly prank that shows me a deadsman chest on the other side of the cave, and die to a dart trap after immediately trying to process what just happened. After getting back, I find a house filled with honey, which is strange, but at least it didn't kill me. What? At least these are hard mode. And when I disarm the statue, after trying to dodge it, but when I get back up, I find a band of regen, which is a great way to heal back 1 health per second. Now that is going to be a real game changer whenever everything hits me like a deer on cocaine, as this bat will eagerly like to demonstrate. And while I try to build a staircase to go higher, I step too far into the fun zone and get beamed from existence. After I spawn in, I make another chest, put my shit in, and make a dash to the right to set off any tree bombs that might kill me later, while bringing pots in the way, and get cornered by an entire family tree of slimes, and have to use a recall potion after travelling like 200 blocks. And when I eventually get bored of dealing no damage, I head back up to find that my old pal Rafe is still posting my IP address in their spy kill compilations. I try to dig right to see if I can find anything good when I get cornered by a groom, and after more groovers try to chase me down, I end up just building a wall in the tunnel, and after I die, cry softly and respawn, I found the damn Wraith is still there. And after he fucks off, I die a bunch of times trying to get back up to the same house through the tunnel, where I find what I believe to be at the time is platinum. Too bad a damn trap doesn't want me to find out. After dying again, I end up killing that stupid Wraith, climbing up, and building a staircase to the only ore I can find, only to see that it isn't platinum. It's smelly, diseased silver. 50 deaths later, and I find 2 dead man's chests next to each other, and after disarming them I find shoe spikes and slimy legs, and a build-up of ass gas along with a suspicious eye and another band of regen. After dying again for another 20 minutes, I find another house which a group of skeletons don't want me to go near. So after dying even more, I find a mace which will make playing this game slightly less detrimental to my chances of employment in the future. I also find a godly rally which will help keep these greasy slimes away from my furniture. I go over to that chest from earlier and prepare for any traps except for a stupid skeleton that insta-kills me. I go back up to the shoe spikes. Fuck me. I also find some country life crystals there too, so at least that's a positive. I spot another house, and when I open up the chest I find 15 pounds of TNT stuffed inside, and when I respawn I discover a cool red potion and another mace, as well as some platinum, and when I return to my house I make a platinum chestplate and have to deal with a blood moon which ends up wasting the entire night. Now here's a little funny cool tip for later. This will be the last time blood moons ruin my life and my wife and my kids. I entertain the idea of going up whenever Tim and his bitch bastard head bat remind me to build a few houses, and when I gobble up the entire gold deposit within a mile range, finally make a full set of gold and platinum armor, and have a slight inkling of a bit of hope that this won't be the most awful experience I've had playing Terraria. That gets immediately crushed as soon as I find out ash blocks don't like getting clawed at, and when I try to get closer to the surface I find a jungle house of a sharpening station before getting blasted by a jungle slime. After getting back up I found out that this chest was filled with stuff I already had in it, which didn't make me angry, I was just disappointed. Now what did piss me off was that every Tesco meal deal of mobs from the blood moon was kicking my ass when I was trying to get higher, and do you know how high I could get during the blood moon? Barely past my house, and this was made even worse by the fact that I kept jumping into lava like a dumb fuck. When I do eventually get back up, I find a crimson heart to get an undertaker, which should be more than enough to last me until I get a decent summon with Eye of Cthulhu and go no more than 10 blocks up before dying again. I kill a bat and it drops a KO cannon which can only be found in hard mode during the blood moon, which it was never. And what the hell did this seed do to it? It made it weaker and it made it useless. I didn't have time to think about that now because I almost get splattered against the wall from an explosion from my house and barely escape alive. I can't be mad though, seeing as I got a magic mirror out of it, and immediately after that, I get the most useful item for the start of this run, because lava had been the biggest pain in the ass, and now I don't even have to think about it. Too bad this moment has been ruined by the disappointment of getting a flare gun. Another chest, another mace, and this weird ass trap infested room, which is right next to the dungeon, had a life crystal below it. I try, and fail, to expand right of spawn, and make an obsidian skull to completely negate those stupid damn honey blocks, and decide to go to the snow biome to get the thingies for the flink staff, only to find that it's been combined with the green place, and before I knew it, I starved to death after finding an aglet. I find another chest when I see a funny bit of green text and die to the same trap twice. Seeing as I have to follow an arbitrary set of rules, I run away as my bird tries and fails miserably, stupid bastard, to do any sort of damage until it despawns. After shooting and pissing myself after almost getting covered in eye juice, I hide in a mud tunnel and don't get zabbered by all the jungle mobs. I see some funny, quirky purple text telling me that a bunch of greedy bastards are about to break down all my doors and or bones. I rush to the same chest without dying this time, to the same trap, this time fighting an absolute regrowth before being forced to fight the goblins by a bee. Fuck, I hate this damn seed, I hate the goblins, why did I try this challenge? Oh my god, what am I doing? That was easily the most horrendous part of the challenge so far. At least I got a harpoon gun, which is even worse than my KO cannon. I try to fight more Finxes and find the Goblin Stinkerer that absolutely won't cost me over 100 platinum during the course of this video. I head back to the jungle, almost dying to poison before remembering that life crystals heal you, which gives me just enough time to open the chest containing feral claws over making an ass out of myself again. I find the temple while hiding in a goop box, and I wait for my heals to come off cooldown, and underneath the temple I also find a life crystal before dying to a hornet. On the way back, I bring 10 gold from my chest to buy a Tinkerer's Workshop and kill a Flinks that was in the mud tunnel. I ended up sorting my shit and building more houses after not finding any more flinxes. We go back to the jungle after a while, collecting more stuff to make a snap for on the way, and buy a whip from the furry. The eye spawns in again, and I take the manly approach of shitting and pissing myself again, and I fight even more flinxes, building another mod tube to get to a light crystal, and die to await a flinx, the thing I need to kill for the new weapon. This process of finding flinxes and immediately dying was more grueling and painful than this video will ever be able to accurately represent. Oh, light crystal. Thank God I had enough fur when I got out of there, because if I had to go back to that hellhole one more time, I would have turned into one of those satisfying 3D animation channels. Now that I had the flinx staff, I could get the stuff for the snap form reasonably easily, and came to the realization that I could just farm mimics for Hermes boots. Even though not having any good movement is something I'm used to, it really was a pain in the ass, dying, only to do the world's slowest walk of shame back to the place I was, only to repeat the process a few hundred times. I go back to the jungle and find 4 chests. 4 chests that could have had anything. And it was all just useless shit that I already had. I swear the seed itself, the creators themselves must have placed those chests in there just to give me a smidge of hope for crushing it immediately. At least I got a bottle from a mimic, which wasn't too bad. And after learning from all the other houses, I block off the doors, check for traps, and find exactly what I need. I buy some rocket boots, and with all the items I needed to fight the eye, I smooth out the terrain and add in some platforms at each end. I summon in the eye, and for the most part the fight is normal, as I dodge his tiny goons and whip him like I'm making a lower fat, lighter cream, and in his second phase, he doesn't change much as well, until I whip him so hard that he calls in his cool hip friends back, because he's so awesome, and when he goes little baby crybaby dingle nut mood, the fight's practically over as he rains down in a bunch of goo, eyeball juice, and yummy radical cool loot. Shortly after killing the eye, the dryad moved in, and I decided to buy some pumpkin seeds from her so I wouldn't have to worry about hunger and make a place to farm them. After this point, there is no weapons that I knew of that were for summoner, so I head up to the surface and realize that the entire top of the world is an infested, lava-drenched hellscape. So I run away with the uneasy feeling that I would die to a worm, which, little did I know, was completely accurate, but I'm not going to go too far ahead of myself. Realizing that 2 is better than 1, and defense at this point is useless anyways, I get a flinx fur coat giving me 1 more minion. I set up 2 houses underneath the surface to get to the place where I would have died if I wasn't the greatest gamer ever. I also set up a pound in the jungle, which is going to be incredibly helpful given the amount of fish I'm going to need over the course of this run. After that silliness, I make a goon tube that reaches to space to avoid the smelly mouth reavers on the surface, where I proceed to make a really average bridge to the left. Well, that sounds all nice and dandy until you realise that worms apparently like taking day trips to Mars. With my addiction to pylons almost as strong as my addiction to making a short in one video, I try to make a mushroom biome in space, which doesn't really pan out, which wouldn't really make me that mad, only I spent an hour making it. And given up, I organised my shit and got the stuff to make the worm food, which also took forever, but it doesn't matter because at this point I'd half realised that nothing in this damn world is fun except more fast. A kind, fun, smart, fucking ugly tumor infested shitbag worm gave me a little heads up about the full evil of the seed. Went in a goon box, holy shit, that thing's almost as big as my king cobra. Okay, no problem, I can just hide up here. Despawned, fuck. Now knowing that shit's not gonna get cheesed, I make a crappy arena and place down some healing stuff and try to fight him and win first try. I expand the arena and this time I last 10 seconds instead of the previous 5, which is good progress. Making the arena bigger again, and let me tell you, making the arena is not as fun as it sounds, as I have to expand it 1 block at a time before getting killed instantly by some random ass thing off screen that zooms in at 90 miles an hour. And just to like really give you like a good idea of how long this took, I'd almost got an entire set of ancient shadow armor by the time I was done making this arena bigger. And after that entire fiasco, I set up a farm for herbs and make a good box for the nurse. Oh shit, what's the time? Folding eyelids in half time. I needed money. Do you know what I needed? A jungle fishing spot for sonic potions. And you know what I need to fish? Bait. Where do you get bait? Grass. So I made some grass because more grass means more bug, means more fish, means more killing bosses. More killing bosses means I don't have to play this seed. And I think I've kind of fucking lost it at this point, yeah. It wasn't good. Back on the topic of building an arena, I had the spectacular genius idea of placing walls throughout the entire thing to stop greaseballs from turning me into an item on the menu. And even if I wrote a bestseller, Nobel Prize winning book on the concept of time, you still wouldn't be able to understand how long it took me to get the shit to make these walls, and never mind just placing them. After spending a few millennia getting the stuff to make them, placing them and repeating a few more millennia, you can throw in a few more decades before the start of the death screen as well. I eventually give up and go looking for shimmer, and when I get a vital crystal, I have to jump into the liquid to find a house which has, guess what, take all loot, and head back to the jungle to do more fishing. And after finishing off the walls for the arena, I go on an incredible, awesome adventure to get sand, fixing the name of this world, and I decide to finally fight the wobbling worm. I get rather close before the greedy bastard and the mouth breathers swarm me, with a sliver of health left, which doesn't ruin my day in the slightest. The colossal dick almost died again before I got spawn capped by a stupid ass eater, and after slowly picking away his health and dodging the vile spit, I finally wormed the worm using my wizard hat for some extra minions. I collect some hellstone and prepare to fight the old one's army by crafting some obsidian armor, a molten pickaxe, and imp staff. And after a bit of bad luck, fucking goblins, I fucking hate these goblins, I eventually kill the boss right as I lose. I try again, this time, and win. This is the last time things go this smoothly in the sea. Now having some more sentries from the accessory on the table, I hunt for the dungeon for an hour by building a bridge across the evil demon service of Goop. And I also look for the entrance underground by following along the line of it. When I do find it, I connect it to the skybridge and then connect that skybridge to my arena, just so I don't have to go through the process of building another arena. I make a spawn room right above the dungeon, and I give the fight a go. Okay, that's fine, it was just a test. Oh fuck. I find the golfer and buy the essentials before dying to Skeletron a few more times, when exactly one electrical signal goes off between my 5 remaining brain cells. Find this stupid ass broken Dookie seed, and remember the golfer sells a golf cart after getting a certain amount of points. And instead of cheesing the system by lobbing balls down a elevator, I spend a full hour making a golf course with bunkers, multiple paths, and completely mowed grass. I spend even longer playing it, and I actually do have a bit of fun. For all this time, I've been getting killed over and over and over again. So now that I have a slight amount of safety and I'm having a slight amount of fun, things have to go wrong in some predictably evil, demonic way. And so I do find out that all of that was a complete waste of time because it doesn't sell until you've beat Skeletron. I hate my life. The next 6 hours are made up of trying every single silly scheme in the book to try and get Skeletron into my arena, including mine tracks, tracks that send me flying, tracks that confuse its AI, magic mirror onto the tracks, spawning it in while going well past the speed limit and using bumpers to get out of the dungeon, while keeping my speed, building walls across the entire bridge to stop monsters, and making a shark run a balloon. Don't worry thinking that was a complete waste of time. I thought it was a waste of time at the moment, but it'll be very important later. Using my surplus of tombstones, I'm making an artificial graveyard biome to make a shovel for later, before trying, and mostly failing, by catching these hands. Until one run, I get him out of the dungeon, into the arena, dodge his hands, and his little goober gasters while giving him my hands instead of the other way around. When I get rid of both of his hands, one of them was laid in traffic for most of the flight, I don't know what the fuck it was doing, I whack his bald ass head and rip his dentures out. In the dungeon I find a bewitching table, a cobalt shield, and materials for a spinal tap, as well as a shaken, I wrote shaken ton of traps in my script. That is how horrendous and demonic this seed is. At this point, I was so out of it that I'm sort of making up words to describe the pain I was feeling in the dungeon. I build a bridge in hell for the wall of flesh after buying a golf cart. I get beamed out of existence by his little shits that have been, quote, buffed out of the wazoo. And after doing some more exploring, I find an imp statue and use my minions to farm them for banners, and add a second platform with buffs throughout the arena, which helps drag out my death instead of killing me instantly. I still keep trying to kill the bastard, but end up having to fish for potions every time, And to not think about the evil pulsating mass of uneaten Burger King, I have to kill to make a turbo goon box and play more golf. I also end up farming Queen Bee for some armor, and the extra summons do help, but I still die anyways. And I do some Blood Moon farming, which went quite well as I got the frog staff quite quickly. This will not be the last time I farm Blood Moon, and you better believe that it will not go this well next time. I had a place to squeeze the wall of flesh at the bridge of lava and blow up hell to smooth things out, where I feel the full extent of the demon's shit breath. After even more fine tuning and fights against Lord Leviathan, I fight the brain of Cthulhu, eventually killing it and get the brain of confusion, which pairs well with my worm scarf. And I set up a fishing spot in corruption to get Evan Guy for wrath potions, more bombs, and I end up building an entire bridge just to compress the Pillsbury Doughboy for some extra damage and switch back to obsidian armor. And a few hours later, and help from a nurse skin box, I finally start the fight against the Golden Goliath. Oh shit. At this point I'd been fighting the wall for literal days and I was starting to lose my patience, so I put all my potions into one fight, and after learning how to dodge it, deal decent damage, it ended up between a race against a grease wall that's several meters tall and the 100ml engine in my golf cart.
But like, genuinely, it's such a free boss. Like, how has anyone ever died to this stupid thing? Like, I've never seen anyone lose to this stupid thing ever.
Holy hell, the pain in the arse this boss was can only be compared to brushing my teeth with the shit they used to clean barbecues. And so I head straight up to Spider Nest to get thanks to our first summon in Sentry and Hard mode, along with some spider armor to try and forget what I just went through. And also, looking at the final arena compared to the first one, it genuinely looks like my bridge has been through a hellhole. I tried to kill the wall a few more times to get a firecracker, and after pissing off the entire local Wraith population, I do eventually melt it again, but it doesn't drop a thing I wanted, so I try and find an ice golem to be cool. I try to find an ice golem, and after having my dignity figuratively and literally crushed, I decided to play Pac-Man, but instead of pellets, it's ore, and instead of ghosts, it's the entire world. Returning home, I make a mithril anvil on my first hard mode whip, and I can just tell that this will make the game slightly less evil and painful and horrendous, but at least it's something. I try and fail to find the Hallow, so I test out my new weapon on Fatface and eventually get the firecracker to drop, and I realise that the Hallow is right above the top of the runway. After telling the Goblin Stinkerer my credit card number, he eventually gives me the reforge I want, so I head to the Hallow and start getting some gelatin crystals. I get a Rod of Discord by accident on my third Chaos Elemental. After getting an OP item that can teleport me across the screen, I should be able to beat the Queen Slime easily. It isn't easy. All sufficient. I decided that the only thing that's stopping me from winning is this stupid cloud that keeps getting in my way, and after I demolish it, I immediately win and get the stuff I need. This is the last time I got the thing I needed for a goddamn while. Pirates. After getting the blade staff, I decided to get one more item before I start fighting the mech bosses, which is the sandwich staff, which some guy in my comments on the TikTok said was good. So I headed to the ocean with my chumcaster, bait, and a wall to stop the evil cancer monsters. And I had absolutely no clue what I was about to get myself into. After the first hour, I built 2 houses to set up some pylon action, and about for speeding up pirates to speed up time. And I actually do catch a Dread Nautilus, but get completely blasted. After that humiliation, I start to treat it like an actual boss. And I also make a Turbo Sucky Maximus 9 million Goop Gang Goon box. I get fucking smushed. Realizing that my whips weren't doing much damage, I decided to make the Berserker Glove, which was worth it up until the moment the enemies rushed me down and the extra range didn't do anything. By this point I'd been waiting for 30 minutes, dying to a blood eel, waiting another 30 minutes just to die to Corruptor, so I was getting desperate. So I decided to do something that was truly short-worthy when I covered the entire bottom of my ocean with mud while dealing with the onslaught of corrupt enemies, and spent god knows how long breaking sand with my shovel. And I did all of that just to get rid of the corrupt enemies to make the fight against a mini boss slightly easier. After a 5-hour testing session where I got a corrupt key, and just to, you know, in the last video I spent 5 hours trying to get a corrupt key, and it was the grindiest thing I've ever done. It was clear that the corruption, along with the wyverns and low gravity, was making this stupid Nautilus a pain in the ass to fight. So, I made a box, put the ocean in a box, which took even longer, and it was still corrupted. So that was a waste of time. Trying to pirates. Trying to farm again was impossible because of the trillions of corrupt enemies in it. Trillions like the ocean. I shoved the blade staff up this greasy kitchen, nightmares fucked up scallops and ass. After another 4 hours, I decided to remove anything purple within a 5-mile radius, while being careful not to drain the ocean, and prepare for an arena against the mech bosses. Halfway through building the arena, I see some more wacky green text saying that something's been cursed, and before I know it, this unholy abomination from the pits of hell was chasing me down, and I beat it first time. After more pissing and shitting myself, I go back to pirates. I go back to farming when I decide to destroy all the platforms to stop these stupid ass enemies from spawning in, and use the black spot for extra mobility. 3 more hours of fishing and I eventually catch another one and come out victorious. And you'd hope that this stuff I got was absolutely incredible. Like, I mean, like, game changing. Well, it was so painfully average against the mech thing that it hurts. Like, I genuinely had a pain in my stomach from the amount of time I wasted getting this mediocre weak ass stuff. But at least it was alright for other things. I transformed my mech arena into one that's actually good for the metal meanie beanie. After reforging my shit to ruthless and fight mech I get shit on so hard that I collect souls, make a Halden Crimson place to fish for life force and rage potions for 3 hours while crying softly. So when I repeat this, I make an underground hollow form and kill Queen Slime, just to boost my ego. Fuck me. In other news, I almost killed half of one of the 3 mech bosses. I am going to try the Typod challenge with added hydrogen peroxide. Every time I have to go to the dungeon, I feel a slight feeling that I'm going to vomit my guts up at the idea that possibly won't be the last time I'll be crafting a mechanical skull. Not to mention all the other shit I have to craft to fight the silly shiny sausage. I head over to the corruption farm while dodging a dozen crop mix, remos for my ass, and when I've eventually finished my farm, I had to do some shop with my mum. How do you know what killed me? Whenever I was AFK? Not hunger or mimic. Medusa specifically spawned in on the one night I had to go to Tesco's. This seed is conscious. It knows how I think, it knows how it feels. This is the worst thing I've ever tried to do. And as soon as I get enough shit to fight it, I go back to the arena and quote, get spanked 3 times. When I get more summons, I fight it and eventually kill the destroyer for getting immediately quote, pwned. I used the bars from the destroyers to make a drum deal, and the best way to stay alive is to kill the probes and get their heals, which doesn't help a whole lot, but at least health is health. Within the next few attempts, I get one good run where I dodge its shitstorm lasers, kill its probes, and outrun its eyes, dealing enough damage to get it down to just the bald chrome dome, leaving it with 10k health before a fucking solar eclipse happens. And this tiny fat bald fatty fat short fatty fat faced bastard kills me right as I was about to beat Medusa. There's no way this is real. After meditating for a while, I make some hallowed armor and use triangulation to find life fruits. I'll use my metal detector to see where the connections end on the top, bottom, east and west, just so I can find the life fruits a little bit faster. With my new strategies, gears and Dumbus cheering me on, I finally beat Medusa without getting sniped by Fritz, and through a turbo celebration by eating stew and shooting my rubber to a Nerf gun. I head straight to the jungle and get chlorophyte and realize I'm completely useless and get to build my Plantera arena, where I become immediately aware of the problem of getting killed by everything in the jungle. The jungle mimics were by far the worst because they kept filling my inventory with shit while I was bombing his home, and after all this preparation, it was pretty easy to get into its second phase. Oh fuck. I try an arena setup for my new walking fucking green dickheads. Blah blah blah, drink my potions, get the plan to its second phase, die immediately and cope by saying it spawned in invisible boulders, which was a good prediction for later, and I also made a slight improvement to the arena. Finally, unlocking the Krusty Krab's secret formula after killing this prickly pedal pusher. I didn't quite take into account that my arena was a bit too big, because I got it enraged from the distance I was away from the underground jungle, and I just thought I had a new dash attack. It doesn't really matter though, because by the time I already realised that, it was dead. With the help of the raw Discord, I dodged the second phase. I go to the desert next to the function because I was looking for one thing, a desert key. And a morning star, I guess, it's alright. In the desert I start farming for the key, and when I don't get it in 5 minutes I spend 3 hours making a farm, adding to the several dents in the world that I've created for my own personal gain. When the various enemies give up on one of these dumbass bastards, finally drop the key, I unlock the chest, get the stuff, and I also get 2 more accessories that had to be reforged. I was finally ready to fight It's only daytime and it's on the surface, so now finally understanding the full extent of my dumbassery, I was on the oh fuck. Make a small lacing farm. After bombing a cloud, I moved to the dungeon to get ectoplasm to make a pumpkin medallion. I also needed hollow bars, so I almost killed Medusa before remembering I could have no enemies. I summoned in the pumpkin moon and realised that 1, this shit's hard, and 2, I got absolutely fucking dick all. So while I'm pissed off, I spontaneously bankrupt myself by buying tiki armor. I test out my new gear in the temple where I find a queen bee spawn, and absolutely fucking zoom over to golf while in the fetal position in the lower deck of my boat, terrified of what an enraged boss would do on this godforsaken evil seed of oh, that was alright. Well, the next night I kill some morning wood. I get a witch's broom, a necromancer scroll, which I upgrade into a papyrus scroll. In the morning I summon in the solar eclipse or the chairs, whatever the hell they're called, and immediately get the deadly sphere staff and a cool achievement called UN What Army. And after collecting 5 stacks of cash that these dipshits dropped, I drink, apply, I don't know, it sounds like you're drinking the I-4 flask. Whatever you do with it, I summon in another moon, which, while easier, I still don't get any more loot because these fucking pumpkins. This did give me the confidence to go not so easy on Medusa, as my new mount made it far easier to dodge its balls of steel. Guess what, more funging grinding, yippee. After that exciting gameplay I had enough shit, so I decided to make 7 more medallions and sorted one in the planetary arena for the extra verticality for the pumpkins. And on my last 2 of the night I got a dark harvest and a raven staff. I also got another necromancer scroll, which is the cherry on top. And because the goblin stinker needs to buy a new match for his ex-wife, he takes all my money, so I'm forced to farm the blood moon, but all things considered, 7 platinum and 1 night's pretty good. And for my new weapons having the best modifiers, I cover my fake surface with the blue Jurati and farm lacewings, which is unbearably painful and slow. With my new shiny close Pantera things, I decided to take on the Emperor. Yeah, what the fuck do you think was gonna happen? I finished blowing up the Skyline Islands and destroy the Baghdad House of Mushroom. No help from the bloody wyverns. Cheeky bastards. To make the lacewing farm slightly more efficient, I make a tube to get as many to spawn as possible. At this point, I was able to get it down to half health consistently, learning its attack patterns, but I was still fumbling around, and the farm was still tedious to collect lacewings from. So I made it better by almost destroying my base, and more importantly, almost destroying golf. Seeing that the boss could insta-kill me, I came up with this new strategy called running the fuck away, which helped consistently get it to its second phase, making it all the more painful when it sends you back to the Zen Garden of Brain Rot. To make the brain rot less painful, I blow up everything so that lacewings can spawn in faster. Anyways, back to being fucking annihilated. That was so fun and exciting that I decided to remove a goddamn mountain from the map just so I'd be able to dodge 2, maybe 3 more attacks. I am actually losing it. Holy shiggers. I decided to ask the Lord Almighty Bible of Terraria, the wiki, and copy a lacewing farm from it, which makes it so much easier and so much more cash money dollar bills that I almost have 1% of the lacewings I need before I kill this thing. The one of many things that kills me is not knowing where I am, so I make 2 walls of torches to indicate whenever I should book it away from here before I hit something that doesn't help me. The one thing I can't see though is verticality, but as long as I stay around 400 500 surface, I'm usually safe from those diving into the ground or flying off screen. The strategy I used to dodge its first phase was to see the prismatic bolts, wait for the dash animation thingy, loop over or under it, and avoid both the attacks. Then I just kind of fly away from her while she does the everlasting rainbow. After that, if she does Sundance, I just run the hell away from her while laughing maniacally like I do with a woman. And if she does the sword bullet hell thingy, I just attack her and circle her. Rinse and repeat, and that's phase 1. Phase 2, in the other hand at the moment, kinda just look like, yeah, that. After sitting in my bed regretting my decisions while I wait for more lacewings to spawn in, I'm kept motivated by one thing: my fucking huge ego. I experiment with different weapons and summons before setting with the balls of steel on the morning star. And after genuinely hours of learning attacks and dying so much, and so much more fucking waiting for lace wings, I swear, I finally learned the attack pattern for phase 2, and fucking have a mental breakdown that'll define me forever. Which I could care less about in the moment because I had just proved some jackasses online wrong. Gus is dead. I won. And more importantly, I have a busted OP weapon that'll carry me for the rest of the game. After 168 attempts against this unholy epilepsy fairy. When I go to reforge, guess what this bald bastard does? He tells me I don't have enough gold. Although this only slightly ruins my day because with my new weapons I can just AFK blood moons without worrying about anything except for maybe starving to death. But then I can just go back like every 25 minutes and eat something. And the only thing that really starts panicking me is whenever I realise I'm out of useless shit to sell. So when I test my new win button against some bosses for some cash, I also kill the Empress of Light without any issues, along with the old one's army. After killing the Empress of Light a few more times, I finally get a kaleidoscope and reforge it. And then I start throwing myself at 5-foot free golem until he decides to give up killing me. I start the Martian Madness event and died to the UFOs an unreasonable amount of time to get a worse mount, because I got it in my head that the UFO's better than the room. Remember what I said earlier about the minecart tracks? Well, they're probably the most vital part about this fight, as without them I wouldn't be able to get to the surface before getting decimated by the cultist. And because I had built them, I was able to get to the top and kill the stupid idiot first try, and I was ready to enter the endgame. Little did I know, I was not in fact ready to enter the endgame, as the game threw one more curveball at me to try and stop me from putting this in the big book of egg gun W's. As the damn pillars were deeper in the ground than HMTP, I started with the Stardust pillar as it was the closest to me, and I was playing Summoner after all. And when you hear pillars underground, you can only imagine the horrors I was facing. But here at Inc, we don't want you to have to imagine someone getting zavered, so we'll show you instead. After killing the Stardust pillar, I moved on to the Nebula pillar, which was in my corrupt form, which made it slightly less demonic to try and farm the little shit things that had spawned in. And when I had killed enough of them, I bombed my way down to the pillar and fucked it up more than Luce's died. The solar pillar spawned on the surface, which might have saved this video, because if I had to fight these roided up hellspawn underground, I would have started box to match my TV. Before I devolve into a rambling mess of rage, I whacked the shakest out of the pillar and move on to this last, slightly warm and soggy, gross, yucky celestial meat tube. I drive so fast into the enemy that my tombstone ping-pongs around for a solid 5 seconds while I mentally prepare myself for the absolute nightmare of a time I'm gonna have to show in this last pillar. Seeing that it spawned in my desert form, I used this to my advantage as I know all the nooks and crannies to hide in, and after several deaths I destroy the final pillar and get ready to fight the Calamari Crusader. As I go to the surface, I have an overwhelming sense of dread that was completely warranted, as the Moon Muncher paints the entire surface with my various organs and gibs over and over again. And I spot that the main quirk of this fight is that there's fucking boulders that he spawns in. The only thing that's different about these ones than the Plantera ones is that they're actually real and I didn't hallucinate them. I finally pull my head out my ass and realize that the broom's better than the UFO in every single way. So I try the pumpkin moon again, but don't get the broom. But I do this. I had to make some spooky armor out of the wood I got. Not caring that much about the mount, I kill the cultist, first try easy dubs again, blood moon, and whatever the hell the prophecy's end is. Or holy hell, I beat this ass that first time. What the hell am I on, trying to die to it again? Christ. Finally. Anyways, I form the pumpkin moon again, and to the surprise of absolutely nobody, I don't get a broom until the second one. This time round I try a new strategy for the pillars called blow shit up until the pillars are left more exposed than Harry's mum after a Tuesday night at 12:30 AM. This strategy seems to work until I get to the solar pillar, which seems to just pussy out me turtle up in the dungeon. Fuck off solar pillar, annoying scummy bastard. When the last pillar falls and the Moonlord spawns in, I buff up and same as last time. Oh fuck me for having hopes I guess. I fight him into my last sigil where I finally went off. Christ, so I have to do these fucking pillars again one more time. To give you a rundown of why I hate the pillars. If I died to the cultist, I had to wait 5 minutes in my bed while I get a drink or something. Then I have to go to the process of destroying the pillars, and always one of them just fucks off to the dungeon, and it takes about a year and a half to get to it. Destroying the last pillar, I get pummeled immediately into paste by the Moonlord. So I make a few sigils and summon him and destroy his first time before getting crushed by Moonlord. But on my next fight, I'm gonna start chewing on gravel and pretend like I enjoy it. At this point, I'd learned how to dodge his main attacks, and I'd also gotten incredibly intimate with his new boulders of doom. So this time, when I buffed up and summoned him and poked him in the eyes, I had a plan, and by God was I going to execute it. After the torture I put myself through, I finally had to finish the job. And with that, I'd done the impossible. I'd proven DIFICULT online wrong, I'd claimed my throne as the nerdiest person in the room by beating the hardest vanilla difficulty as the worst class. The feelings I felt at the time were pain, sadness, and agony. And the exhaustion of trying to do anything in this seed will probably deter me from playing Terraria ever again. To give this world a proper send-off, I tore apart the two most annoying bosses and drained the ocean to put it out of its misery after I've mangled it to this point. As I admired the ecological damage my light shenanigans has caused the world, as the more things feel pain here, the happier I am, because of a great 1,431 deaths, holy shit. Plus the 4 extra ones for me dicking around since I killed the Moonlord, that made it a nice 1,435 deaths. I could care less about anything else that lives in this world after what they've put me through. This video took a long time to make. I knew watching almost made it worth doing this crazy shit. Thank you for watching, and hopefully a max upload won't take me like 5 months.